What if Anakin Skywalker never fell to the dark side? What if Revan got to live a life with Bastila? What if the sequel trilogy had a proper vision and execution? What if we actually got the KOTOR remake? So many what ifs we could think for our favourite fandoms. But what about our lives? It is one of the only things that we can never fully control. We may have some grand vision, some purpose we wish to fulfill with our lives, and yet we fail consistently. We may pull off some success along the line, but seems like our destiny is always to fail. For most of us anyway. To live in a world where our say is inconsequential to the larger picture is frustrating and crushing to hear. But is that necessarily a bad thing? What happens if we actually get what we want? Do things magically get better? Does getting what we want automatically make all our problems disappear? Not at all. In the season finale of Season 1 Star Trek Strange New Worlds, we get a glimpse of this. Pike has always been aware of his fate 5 years later, that he will fall victim to a fateful accident that will leave him disfigured and paralyzed, trapped in his own body, with only his thoughts to himself. A terrible way to live for the rest of your life. So if you know what's going to happen, it makes sense to try to stop it. He ponders taking a step at warning others about this future, to warn others not to be there on the day it happens, so that he can escape this fate, only to be stopped by a version of himself from an alternate future. And in this future, Pike manages to survive the accident, continuing his command of the USS Enterprise, depriving the Enterprise, Starfleet, and the Federation of the man that was needed to be in the right place at the right time, leading to a war between the Federation and the Romulan Empire. A war that was avoided in the prime timeline when James T. Kirk took a firm stance to fire upon a Romulan vessel that was encroaching on Federation territory. One of the first casualties of this war was Spock, whom we know plays a key role in the pacification of the Romulans and later their reunification with the Vulcans in later centuries. So in this alternate timeline, not only is there no peace between the Romulans and the Federation, but the chances of peace dies with Spock. The war lasts decades, and future Pike is still fighting that war. In this alternate timeline, instead of exploring strange new worlds for the Federation in the original series, Starfleet is engaged in all-out war all these years. And as Spock said, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one. And it's true in this case. For the sake of billions of lives lost in this alternate reality, war with Romulus must be avoided at all costs, and that means that Pike has to be bound to a chair in his later years. Sometimes the choices that we make are not simply about what makes us happy, but rather what is best. But the bitch of it is that sometimes it hurts like hell. Have you ever wondered how many times Revan could have just considered to just stay with Bastila on their final night on Coruscant, to live the rest of his life in ignorant bliss, to not venture out into the unknown regions to confront the true Sith, spending the rest of his time with a wife and to see his kids grow up. The results of that very action could be blissful in the short term, but would have been catastrophic for the Republic and the galaxy in the later years. The true Sith Empire would have returned to the galaxy much earlier. War would have come to the Republic again, the fourth time in less than a century, and the galaxy barely recovering after so long. How many lives, how many more lives are lost? There's hardly any room to breathe, any place for people to stand on their own 2 feet. Of course, if we bring it to the issue of Anakin Skywalker's fall to the dark side, I'm completely on the boat that he should have not fallen in the first place. But the prequel and original trilogies revealed the deeper issues with everything. The corruption in the Republic as the governing body, the heartless and robotic Jedi as their peacekeepers, the nonchalancy and dogma of the individual masters on the council. To some, perhaps a complete overhaul of the galaxy was a necessary pain that the galaxy had to go through. A gigantic reset buttons to make things right again. To fill the Republic with leaders who care. with Jedi who actually follow the Force and not listen blindly to the Senate. Even the Federation and Starfleet were built upon the foundations of an Earth in the aftermath of a nuclear war that annihilated many cities and took God knows how many lives. The franchise of Star Trek got many of its viewers of this generation from the J.J. Abrams reboot in 2009. Because of the fresh start, they got many fans into the original series. And maybe, chances are, we may need a fresh start with Star Wars as well. A reset is also necessary at some point. But that's another can of worms I really won't want to go into for this video. But to end off, there's this final quote about Revan from Kreia that sums it up. He knew he must leave all loves behind as well, no matter how deeply one cares for them. Because such attachments are not the way of the Jedi, and they will only doom them both in the dark places where he now walks. And that's it for this video. If you would like to see some things a bit more light-hearted, involving Star Wars characters, using animations and artificial intelligence, do check out the rest of my channel. Thanks for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.